Greetings all, and welcome to the first episode of There Be Game. Now, I'd like to start this with the fact that I've been inspired by starting to run a new campaign. A brief talk about Pathfinder. I've found the system to be quite useful, quite accurate in a lot of fields, and a significant improvement over what came before it. That being said, it's not without its flaws. Firstly, it works. It really does work. It's simple. It's like a nice old woolen blanket. It's warm, it's fuzzy, you know exactly what it's going to do, how it works, even where the holes are. You know how to fold it over to make sure those holes aren't too obvious. And it's nice. You can't argue that. Now, other things I think it gets right, the skill system. Again, it's hard to argue with how it's laid things out. You're not having fields that are broken up unnecessarily. Athletics, balance, same thing in my book. It's about an awareness of your body, how it moves, what it does, what it's capable of. Disable device, again, makes sense to apply it to open locks. Why? The skill itself is a representation of hard sciences. Engineering, physics, application of forces and levers, how they affect a device. You're not mucking around with unnecessary complication. Knowing how a sprocket works and knowing how a lock works, they might not be too related, but they're related enough in my book. If you see me looking vaguely to the left, that's where I keep some notes, so forgive me, please. The other thing I feel it gets right is levels. Nothing is wasted. Every time you want a little something, it might be a step towards another bonus to saves at a minimum, but you get an ability. Paladins with their mercies is a brilliant call. Rogues, well, who doesn't love a good rogue? There's plenty they could do with their rogue talents. Barbarians, again, things that are last a bit longer, or they add up to more saves, or there's more abilities. Fighters, throw feats at fighters and they're happy, they're simple to please. Nothing seems to be wasted, there's quite a lot going on for every class. None seem to stand out as being obviously better than the other. Some take more skill to play well, others are more direct, more streamlined. Whatever you want to say about them, nothing much is wasted. Also, the way races are spread out, designed, whatever you want to say, they're themed well. When you play a dwarf, it makes sense that what you're looking at is a dwarf, what you're looking at is an elf, what you're looking at is a gnome. There's a design to it I can't help but appreciate. It just makes sense on a good level. All that being said, I do have complaints. I'll start with my biggest. Mounted combat. Unless you're a marathon runner, you can't run a mile in a respectable time. I don't care whether you're doing it butt naked or with a full load. It takes time and it's a lot of effort. You are riding places. You are under horsepower when horsepower meant a horse. It's a mess. It's inconsistent and it doesn't jive well with the rest of the rules. Was it a copy-paste job, guys? Sorry, you need to do better. Especially in a time when, as I understand, you're trying to create the mounted lance, that is, a knight, his lance, and a number of men-at-arms was a viable part of a military force. Get enough of them together, you make a free company. Free lances was a mercenary lance. They were mounted. End of statement. Try and represent it, please. The other complaint does boil back to the skills system, namely that I think Pathfinder is still deeply vested in a very human-centric point of view. Why? An elven blacksmith should be better than a human blacksmith. End of statement. They've had centuries to master the craft. Centuries. It doesn't compare when you look at somebody who's given maybe 8 years to learning a craft to somebody who's given 40. 40 might only be the apprenticeship. Get over the human point of view. Start thinking about how you can represent the true difference between the races when one lives the better part of 200 or 700 years and one which might be lucky to see 70, even 60 with a tough life. That's where I've got to sit on those things. That being said, I use it. I like it. It works. And to wrap up this first edition, if you haven't noticed the picture behind me, yes, I do have a bit of a thing for older work, especially New York of all things. So, hope you enjoyed it. Glad to hear any comments you've got on this new blog, and I hope you'll be around for future editions. Thank you.